Imagine this. You are sitting at your cramped kitchen table, staring at a crumpled piece of paper that is worth $540 million. Your heart is hammering against your ribs so hard it hurts. You're crying, your spouse is screaming with joy, and your kids are already on their phones picking out the colors of their new mansions. It feels like the absolute peak of human happiness, right? The ultimate "I made it" moment. But what if I told you that this exact moment was actually the start of a countdown to the total destruction of your entire family? There's a dark, hidden reality to hitting the jackpot that nobody talks about. A specific, soul-crushing choice that one family had to make, and it's so disturbing I can only reveal it at the very end of this story. We've all played the what-if game. What if I won the Powerball? I'd buy a private island, I'd give $5 million to my mom, I'd quit my job in the most dramatic way possible. It's the ultimate daydream. But for the family we're talking about today, the daydream turned into a high-stakes psychological war zone. This isn't just a story about greed, it's a masterclass in how fast love can evaporate when there are 9 zeros on the line. We're going to look at how $500 million didn't just change their lives, it erased their souls. Think about the people you love most in this world, your parents, your siblings, your spouse. Now I want you to ask yourself a very dangerous question. How much is their loyalty actually worth? Is it worth $1 million, $10 million, $100 million? You might think your bond is unbreakable, but history and this family proves that everyone has a price. When the money is life-changing, the people you trust most can turn into strangers overnight. It started like any other Tuesday, a simple stop at a gas station, a quick pick, a couple of bucks for a dream. When the numbers hit, the energy was electric. It was pure, unadulterated adrenaline. They were the lucky ones. The media flocked to their doorstep. They were the face of the American dream. But behind those smiling photos in the newspaper, the cracks were already forming. You see, the moment that ticket was validated, the family stopped being a family and started being a corporation. The first thing that happens when you win that kind of money isn't the spending, it's the fear. The sudden realization that everyone, and I mean everyone, wants a piece of you. Long-lost cousins you haven't spoken to in 15 years suddenly have medical emergencies. High school friends are pitching you once-in-a-lifetime business opportunities. But the most dangerous threats aren't the strangers. They're the people sitting across from you at dinner. Within the first month, the love started to fail. It began with small arguments. Why did you buy that car? Why are you giving more money to your side of the family than mine? Why is the trust fund set up this way? The energy shifted from "we won" to "how do I protect my share from you?" Think about that for a second. You have enough money to buy anything in the world, but you can't buy a single night of peace. You start looking at your brother and wondering if he's actually happy for you, or if he's just waiting for his check. You look at your children and wonder if they'll ever work a day in their lives, or if you've just cursed them with a lifetime of entitlement and rot. The high energy of the win was replaced by a cold, vibrating tension. The family hired protection, not just bodyguards for the outside world, but lawyers to protect them from each other. Can you imagine having to sue your own mother to keep the money she promised you? That's exactly where this headed. The lawsuits started flying like confetti. Allegations of theft, claims of verbal contracts made over Thanksgiving dinner, secret recordings of private conversations. It was a total meltdown. You might be thinking, that would never happen to me, my family is different. But that's what every single lottery victim thought before the check cleared. Money is a magnifying glass. If there's a tiny crack in your relationship, $500 million is going to turn that crack into the Grand Canyon. And here is where the story gets truly dark. As the legal battles raged on, the family members stopped speaking entirely. They communicated through stacks of legal documents. They lived in mansions that were miles apart, but they were more alone than they had ever been when they were broke and sharing a 2-bedroom apartment. The ticket had become their god, their master, and their jailer.
The middle of this story is a blur of court dates and depositions. It's a story of a father who went from being a hero to being a defendant. It's a story of siblings who used to share secrets, now sharing subpoenas. They spent millions of dollars just fighting over the millions of dollars. The irony is so thick, it's sickening. They were literally burning their fortune to keep the others from having it. But why? Why does love fail so spectacularly when wealth enters the room? It's because wealth changes the power dynamic. When you're all struggling, you need each other. You rely on each other for emotional support, for a helping hand, for a sense of belonging. But when you have unlimited money, you don't need anyone. And when you don't need someone, you stop being careful with their heart. You stop compromising. You start demanding. Now, I promised you a reveal. I promised you the specific, disturbing detail that turned this from a tragedy into a horror story. As the family reached the final stages of their legal war, a secret emerged from the very beginning of the win. It turns out the mother, the one who held the winning ticket, was given a choice by a high-level wealth management firm. They told her that because of the specific tax laws and the way the trust was structured, the only way to ensure the money stayed in the family for generations was to sign a control clause. This clause didn't just manage the money, it gave her total, absolute legal authority to disinherit any family member at any time, for any reason, without any legal recourse. She didn't tell her children about this. She used it as a weapon. She turned her love into a subscription service. If they didn't show up for Sunday dinner, disinherited. If they married someone she didn't like, disinherited. If they dared to have an opinion on how the money was spent, cut off.